Demo for Intro to Chords. So the first step is, of course, to open up Ableton, and then we'll go ahead and save. First thing, save live set. Make sure you find your folder, your audio student drive, and we're going to name this one Your Name and Intro to Chords. Save. And then we're looking in the instruments category, we're looking for the grand piano. So if you just type in grand piano, that should pop up. Oh, which category is it under? Not that one. There it is. So many grand pianos. Just the regular grand piano. Drop it on a MIDI track. And we're just going to open up a clip. And the first thing I want you to do is change your grid to eighth notes. So how to do that again is just go down to the grid and two finger tap anywhere on there. And usually by default it's set to adaptive grid. And we just want to come down here to fixed grid and make sure it's checked on 1/8. That's what we're looking for there. Okay, so now we need to start programming in our chords. Range is probably pretty important. If you're too high or too low, these are going to sound weird. And so right around the C3 range is going to be kind of the spot you want. So if you get up here, if you look on the side, you'll see like C5, C6. Those are getting really high and chords aren't going to sound good in that range. And if you get too low, it's going to be too dark and muddy, like that's in the bass range. So hover, like kind of pull to C3, maybe right about in the middle of your screen. And then your chords should all be in that range. You're going to want to turn on your headphone, make sure that's turned on so you can hear the notes as you plug them in. Okay, and then let's look at the chords that we're actually having to program. C major, F major, D minor, A minor, G augmented, and B diminished. So lots of different ways we could approach this. I think maybe a good idea would be to just get those root notes in first, just so you can just make sure that you got the starting note right. All right. I'm going to switch to my pencil tool so I can just click once on these. So we need C, we need F. So just come up here if you don't know where they are and just hover up until you see an F. So that's F3. So I'm just going to come straight across there and there's my F. And then I needed a D. There's D. And I need an A. I'm going to go below C for my A. And a G. Go down for that. And a B. Okay, so I've got my root notes for each of those chords. So now I just need to build the right chord quality. So remember, major chords, C major is our first chord. So for major, we go up 4 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's our first interval, that's the major third. And then we go up 3 from that, 1, 2, 3, to get our top notes. We've got the bigger interval on the bottom, smaller one on top. So that's C major. F major should be the same spacing since they're both major chords. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3. Okay, same shape. The next one's D minor. So for minor, we're going to go 1, 2, 3 up. We got the smaller interval on the bottom and then the bigger interval on top. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's D minor. Notice that D minor and F major have 2 notes in common. They only have 1 note difference, right? It's an interesting thing to notice. A minor also. So 1, 2, 3 up, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 up. That's A minor. And then the augmented and the diminished ones are kind of the oddballs of the group. You really don't use them a lot in music, but figured we'd throw them in there just so you can hear some different flavors. So the augmented, remember, has got 2 big intervals, 2 major thirds stacked on top of each other. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the diminished for B is 2 minor thirds stacked on top of each other. So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. So it should look like that. Hopefully you can figure that out without just copying me note for note, but let's play it and see what this monstrosity sounds like, shall we? just need to put a drum beat to it. Could listen to that for hours. Anyway, that's it for major chords. Hopefully you learned a little bit, and we're going to be using these a lot in our coming assignments. So spend some time with some major chords and try writing some of your own chord progressions as well.